Okay, we are officially recording. It's me, Doc Hardy, and this is the Doc Hardy Show. And my first guest is entrepreneur, uh, business owner, uh, philanthropist, mentor, and other things. Miss Julia Moore. How are you today, Julia?
I'm well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the program. We have a lot to cover. You are an inspiration to a lot of people. And I think the first reason is the fact that you are a successful entrepreneur and business owner. You are a hairstylist. That's your business. What's the name of the company? What's the name of the business?
I'm a former owner of Universal Hair Salon, but now I operate as Hair by Julia Moore LLC.
Now, how did you get into hairstyling? What was the motivation? What was the inspiration?
The motive, well, I wouldn't say so much motivation until later in life, where I actually went to JM Wright Technical High School, vocational school, and my mom, she plays a big part. As you know, she was a hairstylist as well, and she always instilled in us. She believed in trade schools, and so we didn't go to the local high schools like all of our friends did. So we cried about it because we wanted to be with our friends. And she's like, no, she's like, you'll thank me later in life. And I can honestly say, yes, it was a big thank you later because we ended up going to a trade school. And I graduated in 1995 with my cosmetology license and my high school diploma.
That's awesome. And big plug to JM Right Tech. I am a graduate as well. 1984. I went to school with your brother. So we got that connection. I'm big on trade schools. And so I'm glad
Mm.
you shouted out Right Tech. They don't have a cosmetology program now, but we're going to do something about that. We're going to try and bring that back through the
Mm.
alumni. But okay, so you got that trade school education, but what made you want to get into business? Because there's a difference between doing it as a job and being a business owner. Talk to us about
Mm.
that.
I would say it was more so. It started again all with my mom when I graduated in 1995. Her and a friend of hers, a good friend of hers, who was she was an Italian woman, and they had opened Universal Hair Salon, and that's where I got my first start. And me and my mom worked side by side with each other for 20 some years, and I think within the first 5 years of becoming a hairdresser, I became the owner of Universal Hair Salon at the age of 23. So I
Wow.
became a business owner at a very young age. With that, I would say what motivated me and pushed me again this whole time you're here through this interview, my mother, who she believed in me and believed that I was capable of it, even when I felt like I was not capable. I was young, 23. What do I know about owning a business? But I took ownership of the business and operated it all the way up until the year 2009. Um, and then later, my mom took ill, but she was the biggest inspiration and motivation of me succeeding successfully as a hairstylist, and also too being a single mom. In the midst of all that, I became a single mother. Um, owning a business at 23, but also having my daughter who was about 3 years old when I became a business owner.
Wow.
So it was um, a lot of learning I needed to do.
Now, what have been some of the challenges you faced in the business?
The challenges, I would say, not being educated. Um,
What do you mean by
and
that?
I would say, in our culture, I think I've noticed as a minority, we lack in some areas of education. If they always have this saying, you got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody
Uh-huh.
to either teach you, help you, educate you, and one thing I've learned through the process at a late start, I think when I got to be about maybe in my 30s, I became a part of the Chamber of Commerce. And one thing I've learned going through the Chamber of Commerce, free knowledge is the best. And I was taught that.
Okay.
Um, so I think the biggest challenge was not being educated when I took the business. I knew how to like, hands-on run a business, but when it came to the business end of knowing how to run my business, I was a failure at that. I have to admit, I was a failure at that.
And yet you didn't let the setback or failure make you quit. I mean, I'm sure there probably were times when you thought about quitting. Am I right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
why you're still in there, you're still doing it, you're still posting, you're still running this business. Why did you not quit?
I didn't quit because for one, I need to still make money. I had a kid to take care of. So you can't quit your money. But I couldn't quit for one. When you're working with your mother, there's no such thing as quitting. Um, where you at while you're not at work. So when you're running a business with family, there is no such thing as quitting. So I had to really push myself because I didn't want to, let her down. Because she worked so hard. She was a hairstylist for over 40 some years, and she led by example. And I see how hard she worked, and she was a single mom, and she raised up, me and my um, five other siblings. It was six of us, and I've watched her, being a hairdresser and how she raised us perfectly fine, from being a hairdresser. So I'm like, okay, here I have this one. I know I can do it. So I push myself to say I'm not gonna fail at this because she did.
Right now, the black hair care industry is massive. It's a $774 million industry, according to some marketing firms. And there's a lot. I read an article about black hair. I just wanted to throw a couple of these things out there. One of the things this article said was black hair is literally different than all other hair. Would you agree with that statement? Is it different than all
Abs-
other hair?
Absolutely. To a certain extent, absolutely.
And what makes it different? What makes it um, different? Why is it? Why would you say that?
Just working with ethnic hair, um, what they will call it, working with black hair, African American hair, it's a little bit more depending on the person's background, their heritage, where they come from, and their genes, what's in their DNA. And some have coarse, some have fine hair, medium hair. It's all different textures, types of hair. But when you're dealing with black hair care, especially with the scalp issues, there's different things going on for different reasons with different people, and you can't treat it as a normal scalp. Um, black hair care, sometimes for some people it gets a little difficult when you don't understand, and that's why it's important to make sure that when you are dealing with a hairstylist or dealing with someone who is getting their hair done and you're an African American woman at that, you want to make sure that the stylist is educated, the hairstylist or cosmetologist is educated in black hair care, because you cannot treat it as a Caucasian head, because there are some products, some the Caucasians, they may use the Pantene products compared to some African American women can't take Pantene products, because it can have an effect on your scalp or your hair. And one thing that I know that is important for every woman or gentleman should know is that scalp care and hair care are two different things.
Hmm.
Treating the scalp is one thing, and treating the hair is a whole nother thing. So it's a lot in this
Yeah.
hair journey.
Yeah. Um, I learned that at Right Tech when I was a freshman at Right Tech. I forget what was the name of the team, Hattie something. What was her name?
Miss Claiborne.
Yeah, right.
Hattie Cleveland.
We Hattie Cleveland. We were in there for exploratory. I was doing my 1 week in hairdressing, and I never forget that I had a problem with a dry scalp, and she taught me that week how to wash my hair, and she taught me about scalp massage. She said you got to do 2 things. You got to massage your scalp. That's one thing, and then you can wash your hair. And just that lesson, I learned that lesson 40 years ago. I still wash my hair the same way that she taught me. So you're making an
Mhm.
outstanding point, and that's something that people need to know about. Now, something else this article mentioned. I noticed you posting a lot about this on social media, so that's why I want to bring it up. Natural hair. There's a big movement towards a lot of Black women getting away from perms and things, and natural hair is being celebrated and promoted. Talk to me about natural hair. Why has it become such a big deal in your opinion?
Well, natural hair, especially now with the pandemic, became very, very more popular since COVID. And it's because women couldn't get out to get their hair done in the salons, or they had a taste of just being natural while being locked down in the house. So it's definitely a big movement now. But even before the pandemic, a lot of the women were going natural. I'm saying that they didn't, they can't take the perm, the relaxers no more because their scalp is burning. And two, women, we sensitive creatures. And when we still think, some of us do, and I and myself, we in denial as women as we get older. We don't want to believe that our body's going to change on us. And for one, our hair, is one of the things on us that changes. But there's women that are in denial. And I noticed, doing this for 20, 25 plus years, we still want the same results that we were getting in our teenage years, in our 20s and 30s. We want them in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I try to explain to women, like, you can't expect your hair to do the same thing it was doing at 25, um, at 65. Like, it's not gonna happen. Only way that happens, that if the hair has been taken care of through the years, but also it has to be in the DNA.
Mhm.
If you have a strong DNA, there's a chance that you may not lose your hair is still flowing, it's healthy, that nice gray, or some don't even gray. I have clients that haven't even grayed yet. But the body is going through changes as women, and who's on medication now. Some, a lot of women are in denial about medication taking their hair out, and they blame the hairdresser and be like, no, it's something different you're using. It's, maybe we should change the perm or the color. And I'm looking at them like, no, it's not. It's medication, because now you're taking something that you never took before. So it's a lot, when it comes to especially with the women, when your body's going through change and the hair's going through changes and medication and medically, it's a lot. It's a lot to learn.
Now, we're going to take a musical break in just a minute. Tell people how they can uh, follow you on social media and get an appointment to at your shop, get their hair done if they want to do that.
Well, you can find me. I'm located in Norwalk, Connecticut. It's at 77 Wall Street, Norwalk, Connecticut. And also, you can find me on social media on Facebook under Julia Moore, or Hair by Julia Moore. And you can find me on Instagram at JM underscore hair and makeup underscore, or at JM hair, at JM hair.
Awesome. So after a brief musical break, we'll be back because Ms. Moore is a lot more than a business owner and a hairstylist. She's doing some amazing things in our community, and we want to talk about that. I'm Doc Hardy. She's Julie Moore. You're listening to the Doc Hardy Show on WKBS Radio. All right, so I'll drop a song in here. We come back. Now, I think when I first ran into you, again, we got reacquainted because I knew you as a child, actually. And it's funny how I got to tell the story because it's my show. I can do that. It's funny. It's funny how we got reconnected. Because from what you told me when you first saw me when I first came back to Connecticut a few years ago, you didn't you thought it was me, but you weren't sure that it was me.
Mhm. Nope.
And you said the thing that convinced you that it was me was I don't know who I was talking to when I smiled. My family has a kind of a we all kind of smile the same, I guess. My sisters and I, anyway. And you said it was the smile that told you that's him. And then you came up and you introduced yourself to me, and I remembered you and of course your sister Ethel, and that's great. But you have an organization called YL Trapped um, that I find quite amazing. What is the organization? What does it do? Talk to us about YL Trapped.
Wild Trap is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 that was started about, I want to say this year makes 17 years, for women and girls, mostly for girls at first. And then we got inspired to add the women's component. Wild Trap stands for Young Ladies Taking Responsibility and Portray Proper Educational Development. And it's helping young girls ages 14 to 21 to be productive young women in society,
Awesome.
independent and productive women in
Okay.
society.
Again, what what got you thinking? Why do that? Why take? That's an enormous responsibility. Why would you take that on?
Hmm. Again, being a single mom at a young age, didn't know how to be a mom. Um, just, you know, I figure if I was lost in that department, there was a whole lot of other moms my age. Even though I didn't become a teen mom, I became a mom at the age of 22. And I just knew that there was a lot to learn. When I started this program, it started under a dance program. It wasn't even the educational part. It started as a drill team, dance team. And it got so huge, to the point where we was having all these young girls, like, started off with like 50 girls, then it went into 100. It to the point where they were saying I was running a camp. And we did a lot of contests. We did some contests. And one thing I've learned, when we did our first drill contest and we came in second place, and I learned how excited the girls, young ladies were to receive an award just for dancing. And then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, all of these teams are out here, got these kids dancing, but nobody's really educating
Mhm.
on the education piece. So, we're teaching them to just dance and, shake and things like that and out there to be winners. But who's really teaching them to be educated, be smart women, to be independent, how to hold their own grounds and, to go after the things that they wanted besides just dancing. So that's how we end up, adding another component, was the academic and social piece of the matter. And ever since then it's been nothing but blessings.
How long have you been running this organization?
This year makes 17 years.
Wow. And estimate how many young ladies have
Oh,
come through that in 17 years.
oh man, we've hundreds of girls. I have girls. I started this program inside my hair salon. I was shut down the salon, and there was always a mom coming to me saying, "Can you help my daughter?" And it's hundreds of girls through 17 years. I mean, I have built a relationship with like the judicial system. I have police officers call me up and say, "Hey, we have this young lady, first time offender. We think you'd be great to mentor her." So I've been around so many young ladies.
Mhm. Last year, social justice became a really big deal in this country. And how do you think organizations like yours can help uh, in the movement of social justice?
One thing I've learned that what we do with our girls, you know, we talk about it. We've been having them. we do pieces on, how they feel about what's going on. Um, in our country, around the world, whenever there's, something that is, crazy. But there's one thing with, like, last year with the Black Lives Matter, we did a piece, we did a segment on, do they feel is right? We asked the young ones, how do they feel? Do they feel that they're mistreated? Even though if it's not really happening locally in their area, but they see it happening in other areas close by. So we always have a conversation. It's very important to make sure that you have conversations with the young ones, because they see most of what we don't get to see anymore.
Mhm.
As adults, we're working, you know, um, we're too busy, trying to make lives for our families and our kids. We're not seeing what they're actually seeing. So it's mainly just having that open dialogue, that conversation, and figuring out, what changes can they help make, for things to be better. But we do believe in, if you keep the young ones busy, they don't have time to. There's no room for it. Be room for minor errors. There's always going to be an error made, but minor errors. So we believe in keeping them busy.
How can a family involve their daughter in this program? What's the process?
The process we have, we only open the program up twice out of the year.
Okay.
It's, it's not an at-risk program, so we do not just take, you know, young ladies that are, you know, what they call bad seeds or bad apples. Um, we don't, we we try to be fair about the enrollments. We have our Wild Trap website that is www.wildtrap.org, that they can go to, and they can send us an email, or they can go on our social media, um, our Facebook page, Wild Trap Sisterhood, and they can, message us, or they can also send us an email at wildtrapsisterhood@gmail.com, and, request that, if they were looking for something for their daughters to get into. And we do have a pre-application that the young lady has to go through. We do an assessment, and if the young lady meet the requirements of entering our program, then we take it from there.
If listeners, want to donate to the program, or maybe there's companies out there, company business owners who want to sponsor, how do they go about doing that?
Again, they can go to our website, www.wildtrap.org, and there's a, donate button. They can donate there, or they can donate to the Wild Trap Organization Incorporated, and they can send it to 40 Wall Street, Norwalk, Connecticut, 06850.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take another musical break, and on the way back, you got something new, because when I approached you last week about kicking off my show, my series, you said you had something new you wanted to share. So this is your time and your platform to do that. I don't even know what it is, y'all. So we're going to hear from Ms. Moore about her new project. I'm Doc Hardy. She's Julie Moore. You're listening to the Doc Hardy Show on WKBS Radio. All right, drop another song in there. And then we come back. So, Julia, the floor is yours. What is the new thing that you're working on that you want us all to know about?
Well, to a minimum, I'm working on a project that is, also, just to share with you and everyone, I'm also a motivational speaker for women, and I, encourage women as well as young ladies. So I've noticed, you know, even just being a business owner and being around women just about every day of the week and dealing with my clients, I've noticed that, with the pandemic, mental health has become a big thing, where depression is taking over, and stress and anxieties are up high. And so I've decided to work on a project that will cater to women and girls, but mostly women on this project, to where to help them, encourage them through health and beauty. So I am working on a project, and I hope that later, when the project is launched, I can't say the name of the project yet.
Okay.
When
Okay.
when it's launched, that I can come back and talk more about it. But it's an awesome program that will cater to helping women in their needs, and to have more of a conversation, an open dialogue, to where from the hair care needs to your emotional needs. um I'm gonna be that woman that you
Wow.
can share what you need to share. And I have the team and I have the resources of women that is ready to support other women. My goal this year, which is my motto, and you'll see a lot more of that, where
Okay.
I put up where I said, for me, I want to be a better woman to women. And
Okay.
that's my goal for 2021, is to be a better woman to women. So that's my contribution that I'm doing.
Okay. So we'll keep an eye on Julia Moore, see what her new project is called when she launches it. But mental health in our community is one of those things. Sometimes it's swept under the rug. It's not something that we really want to talk about. That's a pretty bold move. Why would you talk about that when a lot of people don't want to talk about it? Why do you think it's so important?
Because I believe, as me again being a cosmetologist salon owner, and they're saying, they always say, like, we're therapists. We're not the actual licensed therapists. No shape or form am I a licensed therapist.
Right,
But
right.
sometimes we feel like we
Yeah.
are, because women, they come to us, and like I hear just about like so many stories. And I just believe it's needed, especially now more than ever, because when you feel like you're being locked in, when you're saying you can't come out of your home for just for 3 months, that I've been locked down, which I wasn't prepared. And how do you handle that mentally, where when you're a person on the go, and you're a busy woman or a busy man, and now they're telling you you can't move around, and it's like a form of jail. You feel like you locked up, like how they lock other people up. And so you just don't know how to handle or process it. So I've noticed that there's a lot of women who just can't handle a lot of what's going on top of what they already had going on personally. So I just feel like it's an open dialogue that is needed for other women to meet other women. I believe that strongly women need to come from out of their own circles. We so used to believing that the circle we set for ourselves is the circle of friends for us, when really, no, you need a new circle. You need a new circle of friends sometimes that can see outside of what others are seeing. So you need someone different to say something to you, to motivate you, to inspire you. And sometimes you don't get it within your own circle. You're not inspired by your circle. Um, so that's why I feel like it's a need. And also too, having a sister, me being a twin sister, I know you know that,
Mhm.
um, who, is in the field, who's a social worker. And, you know, we both, been working on something together to be able to bring a platform for women to be able to open up and be themselves. And, you know, it's time. It's time for women to feel like they're being heard, and being heard correctly, not being heard through judgmental, being judged and things like that. This is an open floor, a non-judgment zone.
Well, Julia, I'm impressed. You're doing amazing things. You're doing amazing things. Your family should be proud of you. I know your mom will be proud of you, of all that you're accomplishing. Thank you for coming on the Doc Hardy Show today to talk about your business, to talk about your organization, Wild Trapped, and to talk about your plans for a new project to address mental health in our community. Hit the audience with your social media one more time on the way out so they know how to follow you and keep up with what you're doing.
You can follow me on Facebook under Julia Moore or Hair by Julia Moore. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Hair by Julia Moore or at JM underscore hair and makeup. And you can find me online at www.hairbyjuliamore.com.
I'm Doc Hardy. She's Julia Moore. Thank you so much, Julia. Appreciate you making time for us today. You're listening to the Doc Hardy Show on WKBS Radio, where real radio lives. And cut. You did good.
Yeah. Listen, I was so scared, right?
What you got going?